Welcome back. My name is Bryce O'Connell. I'm a senior strategist and regional team leader at Crimson Education. Welcome to my class on cracking the Common App, a deep dive into the application. We've already covered an overview of the application itself, academics, extracurriculars, and now we'll be talking about crafting a compelling personal statement. So what is the personal statement? The all-daunting task that everybody has to complete when they're putting together their college applications. We all dread it, but if you break it down, if you take your time, it's not so scary. Ultimately, it's 650 words, up to 650 words, of an essay on a topic of your choice. There are a few different options for what you can write about. You can write about a lesson or failure, a problem, an idea that challenged you and made you think about things in a different way, an accomplishment, and there's actually a prompt that basically says you can write about whatever you want. So there's a lot of different options, and there's no best way to approach it. There's no best prompt. In fact, the most common one of all of them is the background. Basically, just tell us about yourself. So there's really no wrong idea, but the Crimson approach, what we recommend is telling a story. This personal statement, this essay, is probably unlike any other essay you've written before. It's certainly not meant to be academic, and it's meant to be, as the name implies, personal. So what better way to write something personal than to tell a story? And the story ideally also demonstrates some form of growth. As you can probably tell from the different prompts that are available to you, that's what they want to hear. They want to hear how you've grown and learned and changed over time. And that's what we really try to emphasize through the process here at Crimson. And it all starts with those topics. So the approach we take at Crimson is to submit some proposals, some topic proposals. Give us some ideas. What do you want to write about? What are you thinking about? And your strategist will work very closely with you, along with your application mentor, to pick the very best topic that not only talks about a period of growth and is something that you want to write about and tell the admissions officers about, but that fits with your hook and your theme and that complements your activities and that fits in with your academic interests. So all together, everything becomes even greater than any individual piece of your application. So with so many options available, it can feel a little bit scary to pick one topic. Ultimately, you only get to submit one personal statement, so you want to make sure it's the best topic possible for you. So how do you choose what to write about? Some big recommendations that we have are to make sure it's, first of all, personally meaningful. Not just about you or about your life, but something that's important to you. For some universities, this is the only essay you submit, so it's really your one chance to show off who you are and what's important to you. So make sure that the topic is something that's personally meaningful. It's also, again, really important to demonstrate growth. How did you change? How did you grow? How did you become who you are today? It's also really great to demonstrate the path that you took from passion, from idea, from motivation to action and accomplishment. What was that path like? What was the journey and what did you learn along the way? These are some really great topics to consider and a really great way to show who you are. So with so many options for what to write about, you might logically think you could write about anything. But actually there are some topics you should try to avoid if you can. The biggest mistake that I see in first drafts of personal statements tends to be a regurgitation of your resume, right? Here's what I did, here are the clubs I'm in, here's everything I've done as a leader, here are the classes I've taken and the classes I've done well in. That doesn't really work because admissions officers get to see that information elsewhere. You really shouldn't be repeating what's already on your activity list or on your transcript or even in your letters of recommendation. You want to make sure that this is new information that we don't really get to see anywhere else. Another golden rule is to try to avoid cliches. So if it's that story you've heard time and time again, maybe even if there's a movie based on the story you're trying to tell, like think for example, that sports team. It's the final few seconds. You group your team together and you raise the morale, and then you end up winning the game because you really, contributed to that group effort. We've heard that story before. It's not unique to you, and it certainly won't show off anything new or interesting to the admissions officers. So you just have to remember that they read thousands of these types of essays, not just this year, but year after year after year. So you want to make sure that you're telling them something, a story, an example of growth that only you could share. Another thing to avoid is unnecessarily complicated sentences and words, all of that. It's nice to show off your vocabulary, but save that for the SAT. For the personal statement, you want to keep your voice true to you. What I like to recommend is for students to read out their personal statement, which you should do anyway, many times. But read out your personal statement, and if it doesn't sound like something that you would say naturally, then it's probably not a good fit for something you should submit on your personal statement. You really want to make it feel like it's coming from you in a natural way. So that was a pretty brief overview of some do's and don'ts and things to keep in mind for the personal statement, but it is a long process and it requires a lot of time and effort. So I would recommend working with a team, working with a mentor, working with a strategist. So if you want to connect with our team to start building your own personal statement, feel free to click on one of the links below to start the conversation with one of our academic advisors. And next, we'll be going through a case study where we will not only look over their personal statement and what really made it pop, but all the different elements of the application that made it so successful. See you there.